That's James's dinner for today, and the rice, I fried it with some of this, and there's really not that much in there. There's a few bamboo sprouts and things, but mostly it's just broth, but it's tasty. And then I'm going to read a couple poems that were inspired by listening to this great course, and we're going to talk about these things a little bit. I don't know how much. We'll see where it goes. And oh, I have to get a mask. Or maybe you can grab one for me, James, just inside the door there. Anyway, I'll start singing my one song. This one's called Jonathan's Pursuit of Happiness, which I wrote May 3rd, 2024. Rebecca, though your mother was a queen, she would have been a peasant next to you. You're stronger than all queens there's ever been. You're stronger than all kings and princes too. I know you think I'm just some dumb baboon who ranks too low within our hierarchy to see me, but I'm circling round the moon whenever you are even close to me. I'm not an alpha male like all those other guys, but you're more alpha than those guys combined. You know I'll never fail you since I recognize you're everything, you're always on my mind. Rebecca, there is nothing you can't do. You need no alpha's care and stand alone. No male could ever catch a catch like you, since you can catch a rabbit on your own. I'll never be an alpha male, that's true, but I can give you what those males can't give: devotion, loyalty, and love for you. I'll worship you as long as we both live. I'm not an alpha male like all those other guys, but you're more alpha than those guys combined. You know I'll never fail you since I recognize you're everything, you're always on my mind. Whenever I groom insects from your hair, I'm overjoyed to just be next to you. When with you, I'm just happy that I'm there, and thrilled in moments when you groom me too. You might just see a dope on dopamine, but I want nothing more than what you give. If things remain just as they've always been, my life will be the perfect life to live. I'm not an alpha male like all those other guys, but you're more alpha than those guys combined. You know I'll never fail you since I recognize you're everything, you're always on my mind. So you probably figured out that that song is actually about baboons. And it's from Being Human. He told a story about how some baboons were studied, and he was actually talking about the 50-50 thing, and how, you know, a maybe, if you give somebody a maybe, then that's actually really powerful. It's more powerful than a sure deal, because of dopamine. It's just how it works. You know, you get excited and think, oh, I'm lucky and it's going to work out or whatever, and you just keep getting that maybe, and it'll keep making you think, oh yes, I'm going somewhere, right? And so Rebecca was a baboon who, in baboon groups, rank is inherited from the mom, and so her mom was an alpha, and so Rebecca was an alpha too. And Rebecca was special because apparently in baboon society, only the males catch rabbits, but Rebecca caught rabbits, so she was pretty special. And Jonathan was this adolescent, and he was not an alpha, but he totally was in love with Rebecca, and he just followed her around everywhere. And as Professor Robert Sapolsky says it, he's like, Jonathan didn't stand a chance with her, and why did he keep, following her around and all this stuff? And occasionally she'd let him groom her, and then occasionally sometimes she would absent-mindedly groom him too. And I was thinking, well, maybe she didn't need those alpha males. A lot of the time that's how they'd impress the chicks. Well, she could do it on her own, so maybe she was like, she wasn't looking for that. Who knows?
You mean catching rabbits or something?
Yeah. So anyway, that's that.
The rabbits would be for eating, right?
Yeah. But I guess only the guys do that. Only the guys catch the rabbits.
Yeah, exactly right. But they'd share it around, right?
Well, presumably, with their, the woman that, look what I caught, brought home bacon, baby.
Apparently stuff like that is kind of like an advantage when it comes to mating, because the guy will share this protein with an attractive female or something like that, and right?
Sure.
So it's somewhat like traditional cultures all around the world, really.
So I have another 2 poems. These ones are just short ones, inspired by the being human. First one is called True Love. A chemical named vasopressin's made within a type of neuron in men's minds. This chemical's receptors, I'm afraid, aren't all the same. In some men, science finds a variant of this receptor's gene. This gene forms codes for male monogamy. Those men without this variant have been polygamous with mates quite naturally. I guess true love is truly chemistry. When marrying, a blood test once was done. Perhaps we'll one day test neurology before the wedding nuptials and fun. The test results might turn mates off, of course, but it'd reduce the numbers of divorce.
Yeah.
And the other ones is called Mind Games. Mild transmagnetic stimulation of the cortex makes us weak. An ultimatum demonstration shows a use for this technique to take advantage of a person. Oxytocin makes us trust, so when it's used, results will worsen. Therefore, passive people must beware when voting or when buying things, since modern science finds aggressive salesmen have been trying sprays and fields to warp your minds. Wild,
like electrical fields?
Yeah, like apparently there's oxytocin sprays that they've been trying in like shopping centers and stuff like that to make you just go and you're gonna buy
go in
everything,
with a respirator.
I don't know.
Well,
just crazy.
The fields, you were noticing that you were feeling poorly during a really Chinooki day.
Yeah,
I think they've known this for
what's setting
50
off my
years. During Chinooks, there's high occurrence of positive ions. And apparently people feel a little more, maybe a whole lot more comfortable in negative ion environments. An example would be a shower, probably to a lesser degree a bath, or maybe to a greater degree if the bath lasts a long time. By waterfalls, negative ions. Comfy. You feel comfortable by waterfalls.
Oh,
right?
sure. It's funny though, because when you record the sound of a waterfall and you listen to it at home, you don't like it. But when you're there, you love it.
Yeah, awesome. It's really lulling, really, what I find.
So James will probably talk about Beyond the Visible, Hilma Af Klint a little bit.
If I got time.
But I don't know. And because I'd mentioned Salvador Dali, and I'd mentioned this a bit because apparently she, at least what they're saying in that video, is she was the start of abstract painting, and she didn't get the recognition for it, for being the pioneer of it. So, and then what I want to say though is I want to talk about Jackson Pollock a little bit, and just to mention that although I don't like Jackson Pollock. But I watched this video, and he did do some things that were a little more interesting than just the pouring paint on the. So, but it's abstract, and honestly, it never was very good. Whereas you look at her stuff at the beginning, before she went into the abstract, and she had skills. She had really developed her. Well, I guess other people worked to help her develop as an artist too, right? But she developed as an artist, and then she moved to the abstract, where he didn't really have the skills at the beginning.
Well,
and so his stuff.
Okay.
Sorry.
But you can see that her stuff is composed.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about relaxed or something like that. It's composed, whereas his stuff's lost around.
And there's one that they showed of Jackson Pollock's where it has the bull head and stuff in it, and it looks okay, but at the same time you realize, wait, what he's done is just, it's basically like riding coattails or something. Like the bull was inspired by Picasso's bull, and it's like, okay, so you're not original at all, whereas she, it seems, was. So why does he get the big name and she doesn't? But
there's a question: when you come along, like, do you catch a wave and you catch a wave and sitting on top of the world like the Beach Boys?
Yeah.
And I can pretty well guarantee you there were people doing abstract before her. Yeah? They've just dug her up.
Yeah.
There are people who are doing abstract stuff, but because she's a woman, they're giving her play and stuff like that. Did she influence anyone? No. So she didn't start the movement. Maybe she did.
They're saying she might have.
She might have, but what they're doing is, I think it's more, she could have.
Okay. Well, it's a good DVD to watch.
Yeah, it is.
And honestly, this was a good DVD to watch about Pollock.
Yeah.
I'm just not a fan.
Yeah. So.
But I'll say Salvador Dali, he was original all the way along.
It looks like.
And the whole idea with, he kept changing his style, and it was good all the way along. And I think that's probably more to do with why he was changing his signature and stuff on the art, because it was a new brand so many times. So. And it worked.
Again, his compositions are way more complicated from what I can see of the stuff that they're advertising here, right? Mm-hmm. Than hers, and more. His stuff Jackson Pollock stuff kind of looks complicated, or I should say his stuff's complex. Dali's stuff is complex. Pollock's kind of looks complicated, but it's the same way that vomit might look complicated. Wow, look at all the stuff in there. But it's not really intended. Here's the test. And believe me, artists and critics grind their teeth when people use this, because it's used by the lowliest non-artist types. But it should be used by everyone. Could an elephant do this? Elephants apparently like doodling with, and it's sometimes it's quite sophisticated, it looks like, at least, with I think with their trunks, or maybe they'll provide them with sometimes with
Kamala
canvases.
has a paintbrush and canvas.
Yeah, exactly right. Could an elephant do this? I don't think so. Could an elephant do what Salvador Dali did? Almost none. Could an elephant do what Jackson Pollock did? Yeah, probably, and probably better. Almost every sort of thing. So that's the test I use. Grind your teeth and all that sort of stuff. This guy is great. That's what you say.
Well,
but you can't prove it.
A lot of people will say. My dad said it. I was mentioning that I worked as a weekend attendant in an art gallery when I was a teenager for a little while, and my dad came into the art gallery for a show one day, just because I wanted him to, probably. So he was there, and the artist was standing by talking about one of their pieces, and my dad was a little ways away, but not far enough away, I think. And my dad said, was talking to me about the art, and he's like, a child could do this.
Yeah.
And I was so embarrassed. I was thinking, oh my gosh, what if the artist heard you?
Someone should say that. Because
yeah,
the person's
but that's
using
the
public
thing
funds.
is, yes, people should say that. It's too often, yes, the